Welcome back to The Walking Dead. This is episode number 4. Some guy, which I don't know. This is the line in the episode, but that's also one of the a thing from the games. But I'm not going to talk about that. I want to talk about this episode. Why do I want to talk about this episode? Well, one, I'm doing a review. I have a review thing already going on, so that's why. But also because unlike the other 3 episodes, which were mediocre, okay at best, but it bland at worst. I like some parts. Nothing really pissed me off, which I expected. But however, I did not expect an episode like this. No, I think a lot of people have been talking about this episode already since it. Well, I don't know. I know they talked about the quote unquote sadness of it, but I don't know if they talked about that. I thought this episode was really good, and I haven't actually had an episode like this in a long time. Probably easily top 10 already, which I don't know if I would ever do a list like that, but who knows. I could probably do a top 10 Walking Dead list, but I digress. Why is that so good? Well, unlike the other episodes, this one has a focus on one battle. Unlike other episodes, the action is actually good. It's actually it's very well paced. It wasn't really. I can't really name a slow moment in it. I was content the whole time. I didn't got distracted or anything, get bored. So I guess I should talk about what happens in it, so I can talk about the more specifics. So what happens is that you see what happens after the kingdom gets shot down. Ezekiel, of course, gets injured, and he crawls out. He sees that all the kingdom people are dead. We don't know most of these people, but just Ezekiel's reactions are what seals the deal. You also get weird flashbacks. There's only 3 of them. They're very short. They're probably the worst part. They weren't necessary, and they're kind of sappy. So there's that, but of course Ezekiel walks around. Of course, I was thinking is one of them become a walker? I remember one of them became a walker after in the comics. And then as I say that, one of them does become a walker, and it's just okay, then they all become walkers. Ezekiel, of course, there's of course one of the guys was that guy in this picture. Of course, tries to help him because he got shot in the leg. He uses his cane. And then that guy gets shot by an unknown savior. The savior comes out. It's one of these nerdy guy who's a loser, like me. But I thought he was one of the. I thought he was. At first, I thought he was one of the saviors from the comics, but he isn't because there's one guy named Carson who has a very similar appearance. But that one fit, I guess. But it wasn't. So whatever. It doesn't matter. Of course. So he basically mocks him as he tries to guide him, because of course Negan wants Ezekiel so he can have the kingdom. Basically, he tries to send him back. Of course, when the gates is locked, he steals Ezekiel's sword and he threatens him. There's a lot of walkers falling behind them since there's horde nearby, and also a lot of the kingdom people, of course, they get shot in the head, so they're come back. So it's sort of how they're sort of still he mocks and how he claims that the people are still following him. This guy's kind of an asshole. Okay, so then he dies. Jerry, one of the only named kingdom people people don't even know, of course, saves Ezekiel with his axe. He gives him his sword. Of course, he tries to unlock the gate by cutting it open, but of course his axe breaks in the process. So yeah, then he uses his staff to kill some walkers, and he and Ezekiel start trying to kill them. Another plot's going on, but same plot. So of course Carol doesn't die. Why would she? I mean, I don't think they would have the guts to do that. She isn't her, and she isn't. It's hard to find what version of Carol it is, but this one's the not bad. She doesn't have any character, but we do see her do some interesting stuff. I'm very mixed on her character in the show. Sometimes she's pretty good, sometimes she's pretty bad. It just depends. Here she's pretty good. She kills a lot of this saviors. She has a clever tactic. Of course, when pretends to surrender, then captures one of them. And there's one scene I really like, is that she has 2 guys who are going to go in the truck to drive to supply the Negan with guns. So yeah, those 2 guys are there. She has them pinned down, but she also sees in the background that not Negan, I was about to say Negan, Ezekiel and Jerry are fighting with the walkers. So she has to decide who she's going to go after, and of course she helps Ezekiel. But I really like that. It shows a character dilemma, and it's very similar to the video games, how he had to make a decision. And I like the fact that the character decided to decide to help the characters. I mean, this seems like a very in movies you would see a character do that, but in The Walking Dead, like the show, the characters are kind of are bloodthirsty, and they don't seem to talk about that. But I really like the fact that that happened. It actually felt really good to see a lot of of course a lot. I think she killed too many walkers easily, but that's just my thing. So they think all the they escape, but then they hear a motorcycle. It's like, really, Daryl? Well, Daryl and Rick are there for a few seconds. It feels very weird. It doesn't feel like a show. It feels like a movie for a short time. I'm not complaining. It was even though it's kind of ridiculous. The guy tries to shoot at Rick and Daryl, and of course he fails and misses. They can't kill Rick or Daryl. So you well, they wouldn't kill Rick or Daryl that way. Is what I was saying. If they Rick won't die at all, I know that. But if they do kill Daryl, it's not gonna be like that. So there's no stakes for them, but at least I get to see some cool action. Of course, I was surprised that Daryl got knocked off his motorcycle early on. That's like, it'd be funny if he went out like if he didn't come back. Of course, he comes back later and shoots the guy, and then Rick, of course, he drives up to the side. He jumps in the car and starts fighting the guy, which is pretty. It was actually well shot. Actually, it wasn't like like the way they shoot their gunfights. There really wasn't much gunfights in this episode. Is probably why. I think the action was done well. It was video game movie but it didn't really. It was fun. It was fast. It was short. It was a short scene. It was fast, and it got the job done. It was but it was fun. Of course, Rick gets crashed with the car, and he climbs up the hill. See Daryl, and that's the last of them. They're just a cameo there. Cause I think there's a contract for Rick has to be in every episode or something like that. I don't know. Maybe Daryl too. That's why he was there too. But who knows? I mean, it seems a little forced, but the action scene was very well done, and so I'll give it a pass for that. If it was a bad one, then I would complain. But overall, it's pretty good. So we didn't go back. They're trying to help Ezekiel because his leg's still broken, and he claims you leave him behind. He gets mad at Jerry for calling him a king. He claims that he isn't a king. He's just some guy. But feels very genuine. I'm explaining it sounds dumb, but in the episode, he does a really good job. He feels like a guy just lost everything, and you can see how he feels, how he blames himself. Surprisingly, I don't know how many characters we have seen have this. Ezekiel feels very more natural this way because we actually see why he would think this way. Especially when he sees all his people are dead. Compared to our characters who just feel like they're just being mopey for no reason. So they try to guide him, and he has a reason for them wanting them to leave him behind because he doesn't want them to die. Of course, they go to Trench, similar to how looks exactly like the comics. The walkers are there. Of course, Ezekiel tries to kill some of them. And then Shiva comes to try to save him. Very like this comics. No, I always complain that Shiva's CGI looks bad here. It still looks bad. However, the walkers are real, so they cover her up most of the time there. And I was really shocked because the scene. A lot of people say the scene in the comics was sad. I didn't find it really that sad because I didn't get attached to Shiva. But the only way I can find that sad was Ezekiel's response. And we get to see Ezekiel's reaction a lot better here than we do in the comics, and it's very well done. I was like, and also the way Shiva gets killed looks a lot better too. The way walkers slowly topple on top of her. You only get 2 panels in the comics of that happening. You see a whole bunch of walkers around her, and then you see a paw, and that's So that was done well. We just see his watches that they devour it, and he's like, you really feel for this character. Of course, the reason why I like this episode so much is King Ezekiel, who is played by Carrie Payton, who I know best for being Cyborg in the Teen Titans show. One of my favorite shows as a kid. And he does a really good job as Ezekiel. I always thought he was pretty good. He's one of the characters, I saw Season 7. I was really... also Season 6, I just mentioned for this other character. Ezekiel is one of those characters that feels like they came straight out of the panel. He's very similar to the comic counterpart. He's as entertaining. He's one of my favorite characters in the comics. He's also my favorite characters in the show. I really liked. It was a great job performance in this. He stepped up here. He finally got a main star, and I was waiting for this because he was already a great. I already liked his character a lot in the show, but we finally got expanded on him, and I feel like this is. Of course, I don't feel like we won't get Ezekiel again, pretty much for a while at least, or tidbits. So that's gonna suck. I know that, but I really like this version. and hopefully, then I can see his character. I can't wait to see more of his character because I really liked his character a lot. But yeah, the one thing I do have to mention that I didn't like is that the Savior mentions that once he's like the one Savior who's the nerdy guy claims that, oh, we're gonna have your head on a spike, and that made me groan. Like, come on, really? That's pretty bad foreshadowing. I mean, I guess it's clever. I guess it's not really clever. It's just like, okay, yeah, you're just stating the obvious. It just feels a little just too tacked on. That's the one thing I didn't like. Like you can say like, oh, well, Negan wants you on his wall, like the Wolf Walkers. You mentioned that he wants the King, the Widow, and Rick, which I find funny. You should know the two. You should know Ezekiel and Raggedy Snake, but he knows Rick. That's actually pretty funny. Uh, but that's all you need to say. That could be foreshadowing enough, to be honest. Since see, the head was mounting. The head was a part of the fence for the Whisperers. But you didn't need to say head on a stake. That's just like a bit like too just too far fetched. Not far fetched. Just too on the know and but not in a good way. I know. I just personally have a lot to say about this episode. Well, I guess when I had the articles, I had nothing to say. So yeah, this is a pretty good episode. It's on the same level as the season 1 episodes, which are probably easily the best season. This is how the show. I wish this is how the show did work. Expand upon issue. The issue in the comics is one of the weirdest issues because it's told in flashback, but a lot of people didn't know what the hell was going on first because it doesn't. It's written in a totally different format. And I think it's actually it's done better here, which is I don't say a lot, other than the some things I mentioned or I didn't like. But for the most part, this was pretty well done. And let's see, is there anything else I gotta say about this? We got preview for next episode. I can't wait for that because it's gonna be a Negan episode. I think these characters' episodes could work better if the character works. You got the characters are focused and they actually have a good storyline going with those characters because actually most of the time it doesn't work, but this time it works. The other episodes are there's too mishmash, but this is a story that they can expand upon from the comics and it works. I don't know why they. I guess they did that for the other episodes. They mostly followed the comic storyline. However, they just felt very weird. Felt very weird. So I want to say something else, but I don't actually really have anything else to say. I really touched on everything I wanted to say. So yeah, I'd check this episode out if I were you. I would rate it I haven't done a rating, but I'll rate this episode a 9. And I'll need to go back to the other episodes to think what I would rate them. I don't remember them that much. But yeah, I'm excited for All Out War. I can't wait for the next episode, which actually looks pretty interesting. If the trailers are right. So, though there are some stuff I'm not looking forward to, from what I've heard, but that's just that. I mean, I'm digressing. Subscribe to my channel for more Walking Dead videos. I got a lot more coming. Check out my channel for other Walking Dead. I do stuff in the I do watch my other episode reviews. I've also do a lot of stuff on the comics and video game of The Walking Dead. You can watch my audiobooks or my gameplay videos for the game. So yeah, that's it. Subscribe, like, and support this channel. I'll do a lot more Walking Dead stuff. Maybe I'll do a top 10 list. That'd be pretty good. Okay, bye bye.